Hey guys, Andy McCann with CrossFit Garage, where intensity is king and routine is your enemy. This week will be a little bit different as we do some deloading off of the lifts, and Justin Danton is out taking his finals, and so we'll have some mix up in the coaching schedule. I will cruise through the workouts so you can see those, and you can pause the video, look at them as long as you want, and then not listen to me. But if you'd like to listen, here we go. So on our member forum, we have got Mute Sports coming in all day on the 10th to do some jump roping clinics. So bring some money and purchase your own jump rope. Get it sized correctly for you. Memorial Day, we will, as always, do Murph, which is in honor of Lieutenant Murphy. There you go. Michael Murphy. I knew there was another name in front of that, but you can look him up, read all about him. He was also featured in a movie as well. So then we have Murph, and then we will also have on Monday, and then on Memorial Day we will have a movie. Josh is hosting both of those. The schedule may change for that Saturday and Sunday since it is the holiday weekend. Just be on the lookout for that. It is a bit away, but we are already planning. When you do these workouts this week and you have a lifting section, make sure when you hit the last rep, and it'll be a lighter one, that you're doing as many rounds as possible. So there's a couple of ideas in a lift, and it goes along with CrossFit, which is we want rubber weights and rubber floors so we can go to failure. As long as your technique is good and your range of motion, especially on the back squat, is good, pound it out, right? You've got a floor, drop the weight behind you, or ask someone to spot you, and go for as many as you can. It'll be at a lighter weight, but it'll still burn. So you have a lot of things that go into lifting. One is max loading, one is time under tension, another is lifting under muscle exhaustion. So muscle. And anyway, so just be aware of what's going on the lifting side of it. It is a deload week. Eventually we will get off of this. I want to show you something actually that's pretty cool. If you roll over to crossfit.com, and we are going to change up our programming here and there because routine is the enemy, and for some of it we'll follow CompTrain, some of it will follow crossfit.com, and they're doing a pretty good job with adding in all sorts of information that you'll see Josh having the coaches follow as well. So for instance, on this crossfit.com workout, they talk about, let me see if I can pop right into it. There we go. So they go through their scaling, they've got related articles. You can read through, or not read, listen to some of the videos. So Pat Sherwood talking about the WOD, going over overhead squat development, snatch balance, hang snatch. So there's a lot of good stuff in here that really preps you, which is very similar to what CompTrain does. So headquarters has taken a note from everybody out there. Instead of just posting the workout and making them incredibly hard, they've gone back to their own roots of their style from back in 2007. But they're also posting a lot more how-tos, like here's a good warm-up, here's what you should segment your class like. So CompTrain does a really good job of that, helping make every class very similar. So no matter which class you go to, you're going to get a very similar feel. Anyway, back to the workouts. So we got wall ball sit-ups and GHD, or wall ball shots and GHD sit-ups. If you're not used to the GHD, take some time with a coach and understand what you should be doing there. It is not really a lower back hip flex induced lift. It's a popping of your quads when you do this correctly. So if you haven't done this, try it, but maybe don't go so far down. It will hurt, not tomorrow, but the next day. So just be aware your stomach is going to feel insanely awesome in 2 days if you actually do all those. So just think about where you are in your development. If you haven't done much of them, try them. If you've never done them, maybe do a couple and then add sit-ups. But if you're in this, you typically click RX Plus and GHD sit-ups are no problem for you, then obviously jump into that bad boy. So in terms of intensity, at 60 wall ball shots, I don't think I can make it through all 60 and then keep up a decent pace. So I'd probably do some sort of cycling that works well in my mind, something like 21, 20, 19, right? So that gets, well, is that enough? That's 3 sets, yeah. So I like to always have one less, or might even do like 22, 20, 18, and on the 40, something similar like you couldn't do 11, could I? So maybe 12, 11, 10, and 9. Did that work out? 8, something like that. So I like to have a decreasing sets. Just makes me feel good. Plus, I know I'm tired, so the decreasing set allows for that tiredness to be taken into account. Next day, we've got a partner workout. A great thing about a partner workout is a lot of times we feel like, wow, I really got to go hard so I don't let my partner down. And that's great because it teaches you to push a little bit further than you might push before. But just realize nobody really cares what their score is, so you're not going to let the other person down. They just want to see you guys do well. So in a partner workout, depending on how it's actually separated, like, waterfall one at a time, mix it up as much as you want. One of the key aspects is to make sure, if you can, that you mix up the rep scheme so that your partner gets enough rest and you get enough rest. So for instance, if I was working out with, let's say, my wife, then I would probably do more reps than she would do, but I know that in her power cycle, that's actually very similar. So that's a relative scale to your own body, so just be aware that is. Don't think, well, if there's 80, we're going to divide it up by 10 calories, 10 calories, 10 calories, or I'm going to do 40, they're going to do 40. If you're working with somebody that's got typically better numbers, man, give them 50, because that's what's going to make them tired, and you do 30, or vice versa, or whatever, right? So be smart about how you break these things up, and also help push each other and encourage each other. As Murph is approaching, we'll be doing some more things that actually look more Murph-like. So there is a run. When you are on this run, remember the simple tactic of drawing a line from your forehead through your nose down your sternum, and never let your hands cross that line. If you can actually do a kind of choo-choo train kind of run, like make your arms bend back, but it's hands to pockets to ears on that run. Now that's sprinting, so you may not be sprinting, but still think about that. Your hands and the way they move and kind of go wonky control your feet and then your elbows and to your knees. So if your arms and your hands are going funny, chances are your knees and your feet are going funny. So try to keep everything in line. It'll make you much more efficient. On this one, this is a nice little burner. So it's kind of like a chipper, except this one movement. In this one, I would move as fast as I possibly could and use the dropping of each weight as my rest and the moving to the next dumbbell if they're set up in a ladder. That would be my rest. Then down here you'll see that there's a note if you didn't make it with some burpees. I like doing the lifts after the WOD because this is the key for CrossFit in terms of getting intensity if you're going to have a sweaty bit. Since we've been mixing it up or putting them together, which it's one way to do it. Normally, like I showed you here, CrossFit.com has never gone into that. A lot of gyms are moving away from that style too, and you'll see us mix it up. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's just what's bad is when you think this is all important. It's really not. It's a mixture of it all, but the intensity needs to be done here. I like doing the lifts second because one, I'm already flexible, bendable, and all of my tightness is worked out, so that when I'm lifting here, I don't necessarily have to lift as heavy, but my body feels that tension, and while it's not heavy, or as heavy as it could be, I'm still feeling that and getting that response to a heavy lift. When you're doing a deadlift, make sure you're squeezing your core down correctly. If you have a chance to see Gilbert Pena, who does massaging up front, he'll talk to you about how if your belly is popping out when you're like doing a back squat or a deadlift, then you're not really engaging your core in the correct manner. You need to squeeze from that Kegel area up and squeeze down everything. So it's something that's an interesting topic. If you see him, ask him about it. All right. These are some nice, short, intense workouts with plenty of rest. You notice the rest built into it. So really smack it down and see what your engine can do. So an aspect of CrossFit that isn't usually talked about much is how fast your body can recover. So one reason we keep hitting that anaerobic cycle, phosphogenic glycolytic cycles, is to expand those buckets, but also to replenish them quickly. So this workout is kind of designed in that idea of burn it down and then see if you can rest and recover and how much you can burn that out again. So you're going to use this like a sprint, and if you can move fast while fatigued and you can push yourself into that, I feel like I'm not really moving fast, but you are, then just think when you're fresh how fast you could be going, right? So don't sandbag it, really push into it. If you notice that there is an RX Plus option Think about that. Obviously, with a box involved, be very careful and very sure you can make it over. So, stretch out your legs and do what you need to make that work for you. All right, guys, have fun.